Here we come, the main event segment of the evening. The finals of the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal from last week. MJF and Dante Martin were the last two, and now they're going to meet in a singles match to determine who gets the Diamond Ring. But MJF comes out and cuts promo first. He's in Texas. And so his first line, this place is a goddamn dump. And then Texas, your daughter swallows. But this is why the announcer shouldn't cuss. And this is why every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the card shouldn't cuss. Because that way the top heel can come out and do it. And it's not fucking repetitive gratuitousness. But rather, you get mad at that guy. And he does a promo on Punk. And talked about his streak of wins over job guys. Which makes you the new Ryback. That was fucking classic.
That was good.
And said that Dante, then he segued into Dante Martin and said Dante has the charisma and verbal ability of Helen Keller on Quaaludes, which was a wonderful picture. And in here we go. Here comes Dante moping his way out. If Dante was on Beale Street in Memphis in the 50s with Sputnik Monroe, he would have been arrested and sentenced to jail for mopery because he just mopes. He's a great athlete, amazing athlete. And did you see the forward into the reverse leapfrog? Like everybody does a forward leapfrog, and Snuka and some of those guys used to do the backward leapfrog.
Yeah.
But Dante did a forward into a backward. He started forward and spun in midair and landed looking back behind him. Amazing athlete. Greener than a pepper tree, and this match showed it. And they shouldn't have given him this long. I know they're trying to push the fucking kid, and he should be pushed. Maybe not right now, but he's definitely a keeper for the future and a project. But when they give him this long on national television, especially with a match we've just seen previously, it doesn't get him over. It exposes his weaknesses. Get him in and get him out in 7 or 8 minutes where you can just do the things he can do. And MJF was trying to let him, because MJF was going over, so he wanted to be not a prick. He was trying to give him every opportunity, but my God, did you see not far into the match, Dante comes out of the corner with a forward roll as MJF is laying there, and instead of that whole forward roll into a thing is just extra bullshit, but he jumped up in the air and did a forward somersault and was trying to land with a splash and landed with a knee drop on MJF's jaw and throat. And I got hot as soon as I saw it. And MJF, I'm sure he felt it. It apparently didn't hurt him as bad as I was afraid it did when I saw it. But he rolled out and rolled out again, rolled back in and rolled out again, like he was saying, fuck it. Let me get my shit together and let this fucking goof calm down a little bit. And then they go ahead.
He's so good. I thought, I didn't watch it back, but I thought when I was watching it, I think he got him in the face. MJF is so good at selling, I wasn't certain what happened. That's how good he was.
Yeah, well, if he had been 6 inches to the left, Dante, he would have brought his knee down right on MJF's face and nose from several feet in the air. But as it was, his knee landed on MJF's neck, which could have been bad, but maybe enough of his collarbone got it, and MJF's selling his jaw, but that wasn't what he was supposed to do. And so they went to the heat spot, which was MJF shoving Dante off the top rope onto the floor to start the heat. And they go to the break and they come back, and it just, Dante, he has no physique. He has no fire to his facials or to his body language. A monotone face. I mean, Gargano looks like a goddamn silent movie actor compared to fucking Dante. He hit multiple dives. MJF would keep rolling out and Dante do another dive. And finally, he did a springboard backflip off the top rope to MJF on the floor and went completely over his head. And MJF caught like Dante's right foot on the way by and grabbed it and went down with it. But Dante did a backflip off the top rope and landed face first on the floor and hopped right up. And MJF is the one that was selling it. And the announcer said, oh, wait, Dante caught him with his right knee. No, he didn't. That's why they didn't replay it. And I'm not trying to knock fucking Dante. This is not fair to a guy like Dante Martin, who I say is a tremendous prospect and what an athlete. But there is no way that he's ready for national TV doing anything except his gymnastics. And he was off on some of those. This is where there needs to be a middle ground between the indies and national television, between science and superstition, because he's not ready. The 10 punches in the corner, he gets MJF in the back, and he was throwing punches to MJF's left shoulder vicinity, supposedly hitting him in the head or face or whatever. And it was so bad that the director, for one split second, took a shot from the side of his fist and, oh shit, and went to the other side. He couldn't take a shot of it. This kid has to work on personality, facials, basics, get in the gym, age a couple of years. They're going to shove him before he's ready to do anything but this flipping stuff, and he's going to be pigeonholed as a sloppy, flippy guy. And then finally, Dante hits the springboard double jump moonsault that he does. Barely. MJF was standing there, but Dante almost went right past him, and MJF had to get under it. And then suddenly, Ricky Starks appears at ringside and puts MJF's leg on the ropes out of nowhere and breaks up the count. And then Dante gets up and acknowledges the presence of Starks and turns around to go pick up MJF, and MJF just gets the fucking Fujiwara armbar on him, and Dante taps out. So, not a good match, rotten finish, and MJF should not need interference from somebody that's not even related to him to beat Dante Martin. Why didn't he use the Dynamite diamond ring that he already has, much less his new one he's about to win, knock him goofy, and beat him with a headlock takeover? That would have made sense with his interview. That would have made sense with what he did with Darby. And that would have put some heat on MJF. As it was, out of nowhere, Stark shows up, involves himself, leaves, and then MJF just takes the guy down and taps him out. Fuck. Before we talk about the afterbirth, what'd you think?
I thought it was all right. You know, this is where I'm glad that they started the show with the 60-minute draw match, because I feel like seeing the rest of the show, you kind of had to. And this match had to be far away from that so that hopefully you got a little bit of the crowd back. It looked like you had a really excited, overzealous kid doing a lot of stuff that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I think MJF did all he could. I think MJF's a young ring general in there, but
yeah,
you had a guy, if you don't know where he's going to land, there's only so much you could do. The spot where he hit MJF in the face, I thought he got him hard. I wasn't certain. There were several dives where I thought because it wasn't at MJF had to move in an unnatural way from where he was. I was afraid he was going to tear his knee or something.
Yeah.
On one of those. Dante has a lot of potential, but this is one of the problems. He has a lot of potential, but AEW doesn't have too many places to send him other than onto TV. But there are people there who show enough that, like you said, facial expressions. He hasn't learned that on the indies. He's young. He hasn't been on the indies forever. He didn't learn that on the indies. How's he going to learn it now? So, you know, there probably needs to be a system where you do take some of these guys off TV for at least 6 months and just learn the basics, reinforce the basics, the Rip Rogers course, whatever you want to call it.
If he got in the gym, Dante, and got a little bit more weight on his body, he'd be great in a mask. Because you cover that face up with something more attractive, I guess is the only way to say it. Remember, Jerry Stubbs was great as Mr. Olympia.
Tremendous as Mr. Olympia, yeah.
As Jerry Stubbs, he was peahead and bald. But,
I'm not saying Dante Martin needs to wear a mask.
I am. Cover that fucking face up, because that face it's droopy. He's not excited, not happy, not mad, not anything. He's confused. It's a confused looking face. It has to be the whole package. If you've got, remember that, what was her name? Susan Boyle, that won that singing competition. She looked like a mud fence and sang like a goddamn opera star, and it didn't fit, right? And part of the reason why that she won was because it didn't fit. You wouldn't think that voice was coming out of it. Well, if you've got a guy with that athletic ability, but absolutely no personality in his face until he gets older and gets some, put a cool looking mask on him and make him the kid's hero that does all the flying and acrobatics and everything. And he's got a cool outfit for the kids, and keep it short and let him learn. I don't know. But anyway, the afterbirth. So FTR come out to the ring to celebrate with MJF because they are part of the Pinnacle whenever it suits the storyline. Even though Wardlow and Spears didn't come out, and there's no Tully, but FTR came out to pick MJF up and celebrate in the ring so that we could have a blackout. And after what happened last week, everybody was thinking, well, this is the Briscoes. But no. The lights come back on, and it's Sting and Darby. And they have a big fight, and finally the numbers advantage takes over, and the heels are kicking the shit out of them, and then suddenly, like Mussolini, with a baseball bat, here comes Punk with a baseball bat, and the heels powder. And Punk grabs the microphone and challenges for a 6-man tag, which I am looking forward to. FTR and MJF against Darby, Sting, and Punk next week. And because I remember I was afraid they were teasing that Sting and Tully were actually going to be getting at it. But that'll be a good 6-man and a nice ratings thing. Of course, I sense FTR getting a shit kicked out of them again. But did you see Punk's T-shirt?
You talking about the T-shirt for women's rights?
Yes.
Or women's health? What am I supposed to say?
Women, well, basically
reproductive rights.
Common sense.
Yes.
And medicine over superstition. We could just say it like that. He's in Texas. I used to live there. I have friends in Texas. I love many of the places and things in Texas, but there's a lot of fucking redneck Republican assholes. And that's where they're starting the groundswell of trying to deny women across the country their reproductive rights on behalf of an invisible, fictitious supreme being. So Punk hits the ring in Texas to make the babyface save and challenge for next week wearing a T-shirt with a diagram of the fallopian tubes or whatever. And the thing says, you get your own and then tell it what to do. And I have to think, and let's face it, the AEW crowd, one thing you can say, it's a younger crowd, so they're probably all predominantly, I won't say pro-choice and pro-life, I will say pro-medicine and anti-medicine. They're probably all pro-medicine. But I have to I just love the finger to the general Texas society that feels like we should all be living back in the fucking dark ages. So that was a nice little thing to see on the way out.